Welcome to the Four Corners series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, and we're picking up on the 27th of March 1928. Now, 1928 is a very interesting year in the history of the USSR because it marks the beginning of a series of events which will define the Soviet economy right through into the 1980s. And of course, one of the main drivers of this is Stalin's consolidation of power. He now virtually is in total control of the party, and with the support of a few other hardliners. And what happens in 1928 is that the way the economy is managed shifts away from the slightly liberal state-controlled capitalism of Lenin towards a more hardline, total state control over all aspects of the economy and people's lives. And the big manifestation of that is the move towards the collectivization of agriculture, and of course there starts a drive towards industry. Now, this move inflicts quite a dramatic shock on the population, and it results to what some people refer to as the First Terror, because what Stalin does is blame shortages of crops on the economic activities of the kulaks, which these are rich peasants who own their own farms. And what actually happens is there begins a purge where the kulaks are often arrested and sent to concentration camps or gulags. This massive reorganization does have a certain amount of negative impacts, which does cause a certain degree of famine. But one of the more interesting asides of this change is that this massive state control and increasing isolation from the West actually does help the Soviet Union with respect to the Great Depression, which will be triggering in 1929. So in some ways the USSR escapes the worst effects of that, but they pay the price in their own way. Now, from a gaming perspective, this represents quite a major change in the way that the game is going to go forward now, because we're going to move more towards the base mechanics. As somebody posed a question about why I hadn't started creating a national grid. Well, the truth is that it wasn't until about 1927, 1928 that the national grid, or a national power grid, was starting to be put together. Up until then, and a lot of the areas were powered by small power stations and local power generation. That's assuming the people that actually have power. And the first kind of hint of this is this 1930s power plant, which will start to form the core of this growing national grid. And of course, the other thing also is that we're going to need to plan our first collective farm, which will be out here. That's something we're going to be working on this far. And one of the problems I'm going to have now is starting to transition our 3 small villages towards a more industrial focused, larger economy. And in some ways, we're going to have to try and do that fairly carefully. Now, one of the comment related to the power was about historical accuracy. Well, what I'm trying to do is just follow the themes that are imposed by the year, because it's very difficult to envisage how a small community would actually function, because Russia is still the largest country in the world, and therefore change takes a long time to move. And even and it's worth noting that even today, that in many countries, including the UK, you can go to parts of the country where it looks almost like time has forgot these places even existed. When an innovation arrives, it doesn't spread automatically across the country. It takes time to move across. So what we're going to try and do now is stick with the general timeline, but of course we're now going to start playing within the game mechanics and hopefully get a bit of momentum going. The only real disappointment I've got is the fact that I wasn't able to get a railway up and running. And I think, just to wind this section up, what I would say is that if I was going to do another early start series, let me just show you the map. I think what I would do is actually create a populated map with a larger city in, and possibly have a population of around 5 or 10,000 people. And then I'd start right back, possibly even before 1900, and I'd spend a period where I could create this kind of rural community in preparation for actually going forward and showing the historical events. Because one of the problems with starting with a small village is that we've got to deal with the game mechanics and trying to keep everything stable. And of course, a good example of that is loyalty. It's a little bit of an obsession that I've got, and you can see loyalty is actually improving, but it's still very sluggish. You can see I've got an average of 30, but I think we're now getting to a point where we're getting reasonable coverage from our security forces. And somebody actually commented saying that my security officers here had a people of 25%. Well, the reason for that is if you take the loyalty too high, what happens is you don't get any workers and you get people sat around doing nothing. So that is the bit of a balance that you've got to strike, and just hopefully that your loyalty will increase. And I think that's something that we do need to do now. And what I would like to say is a big thank you to Gaming Shower Thoughts, who actually pointed out the obvious, that the way to be able to activate this sidebar here is to actually put it up onto the hotbar here. And that's what I've done now. So what I can do now is open this construction office assignment tool by having it up on here, on there. And what I've done is I've readjusted this top menu. So I've got the construction office assignment tool, cancel roads, gravel roads, asphalt roads, cancel footpaths. I've put gravel footpaths here, cancel railway, and then I've got all 3 railway tracks across the top like that. And hopefully that is going to work for both series, because eventually we are going to start moving towards asphalt roads. Well, that's the idea anyway. You never know. And I think that covers most of the comments. Apologies if I missed anybody out, but I must admit, at the moment I'm having a few problems trying to keep track of things, because there's a lot going on at the moment, not just related to the YouTube channel, other things as well. So anyway, I think that's generally the way we are at the moment. We're still trying to build up our population, which is staying determinedly less than 3,000, which makes me a little bit nervous with respect to the fact that we could have an immediate population crash and then it would be all over. I'm also trying to get a little bit more income going, and I think probably to do some of the planning I'm going to pause the game so that I don't lose control of what's going on. I think probably I'm just going to pause now, and I want to start by building our first collective farm. And what I'm been looking at is roughly up around here, because I want it close enough to New Hope so that I can get the crops into here. And what I'm thinking is if we can lay out a farm here, I wouldn't mind taking a road out here. Let me just turn this on. Wrong one. It's F1, sorry. What I'd like to do is have a road there, and we're going to run the road out there. Now, if you watched one of my earlier videos, I said I wanted to get the gravel production over here. I've kind of changed my mind on that now. I think what we're going to do is get the gravel production up here, and what we're going to do is make this area into a farming area. I think we can accept that. And then, of course, what we're going to do is get our first proper farm in here now. While I'm putting this farm in, I just want to talk about something else. That is Community Reports 38, if I remember correctly, which came out on the 7th of November 2021, if you're watching this in the future. And what the devs are talking about in there is the fact that they are now adding farms of different sizes, and when that update comes out, it will consist of, I think they said it was at 6, 12 and 30 options for farms which will be in game, which I think would be pretty awesome, to be honest. Of course, we got our first big agricultural farm here, and then what we're going to need to do also is put in I'm kind of wondering whether maybe it's time to put a proper gas station in or something over here, because I mean, it's a difficult call. I mean, we could deliver fuel to here, but we're still going to need a distribution office. I think for the moment we'll just put in a horse feeding station here. In fact, we could have kind of one of each, actually. I suppose is one way to look at it. Let me just see, where's the horse feeding station? Yeah, so we're going to put a horse feeding station in directly opposite here at the moment, so that can go there. Of course, what we're also going to need is silos, but I think I'd like to plan some fields in here first. Of course, we got our sowing in progress. Let me just plan some fields, and what I'm going to try and do is we're going to introduce these big fields because that would represent the collectivization process. But of course, the problem's going to be is that these big fields will cause a few problems with respect to getting things built up. Wow, nothing seems to be flat here. Actually, we got a little bit of flat here. Yeah, we can probably get a field in here. Yeah, so what I want to do is start with say a couple of big fields like this. I mean, we could kind of put them in like that. See, this isn't particularly that good, is it? I mean, part of, oh look, we can get one there. There's another kind of half credit one there, and I think we're, because of course with the machinery we got at the moment, there's no point me putting down 18 full-size fields because it just wouldn't work. And I think maybe we can get a couple of medium fields in here. Actually, I put a medium field in about there where that kind of bit of odd rough terrain is there. And we get a, it's still, these are like, so we'll put a couple of mediums in out here if we can get them in kind of slightly spaced out here like this, and here representing, I mean, it'd be nice to get a big field over here. Yes, I suppose we could get, this one's not too bad. If we put in a, actually that's, oh look at that. So if we get that in there, if we can get a road, I think we'll just use the mud roads to connect up here. So you can come in there. We could get another big field in here. No, it's a bit ragged. There's obviously some, well, we got a potential big field there. Could put in just there. I think that's probably enough of a start, because what I could do is kind of possibly level some of this stuff off over time. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to extend you out like that. Thank you, game. I'll just accept that. I'm just going to start the game rolling again. So what we got now is, and we got a little bit of space here for some distribution offices in here as well. I'm kind of thinking that maybe we need to go for something that's a little bit bigger. We got 6s in here because we can't use prefabs at the moment because we can't manufacture them, and I don't think you get prefabs here as well. It looks like we're stuck with these 6s. So what we'll do is we're actually, we're going to build the roads first. We'll let the game detect the roads, and the idea is that what we'll do is this farm here we will take apart. And so the idea is what we'll do is we'll take this farm apart, and so the idea is what we'll do is just remove that. This farm will get disassembled, which will allow the town to expand in this direction. In fact, I think what we will do is come in here. We've got grain storage. What do we need for grain storage? It needs flat terrain. See if we can this needs steel, asphalt, and okay, well, if this will That will connect there. What's the storage capacity of here? Actually, so long since I used one of these. This is 800 tons. Actually, just thought maybe that's not such a good idea. Yeah, we can have that there to drop off here. And then we could put some there. And I think what we'll probably do is put another one. Village storehouse. And I think we'll put another one just here. Like that. And if I put a... we'll put a cargo station in the center, like that. And then hopefully we'll be able to get... get another one there. That connect, I don't know if it did connect. So we've now got our first collective farm. Of course, eventually over time it will expand as things improve. So that's our first collective farm. Now the other part of the collectivization of agriculture is you've got to remember, as the kulaks and our entrepreneurs are driven out, so our poor old blacksmith up here, eventually he's going to be driven out of business. No blueprints for production. Yes, okay. Yeah, our poor old blacksmith over here will be nationalised, and of course our meat production is going to be nationalised. And what I'd like to do is reclaim this area as part of the expansion for New Hope, because ideally what I'd like is our two villages here will grow into eventually a city filling in this area here. So these farms will eventually disappear as well, but that's all for the future. Now the next thing, now if you watch the previous video, I was putting a road up here and I've kind of removed it because what I was looking at as well, again as part of our collectivization process, is I want to move the meat production. And what I want to do is put in a large, it's all a bit difficult to tell where that actually is. Right, we got that in there, and ideally what I'd like to do is I can tilt that a little bit this way, like that. We've got two large fields here, and then what we actually need is a slaughterhouse, don't we? Again, because we're starting to think on the collectivization side, wondering, can we try and flip that? Say for argument's sake, if I put that up like that, possibly angle it that way, like that, and then can we get some meat storage about there? That. Then we can put a road up through here, like that. And eventually, if we need to, we can join it to there. We're just going to get you to join to there. We'll accept that, and then we'll just snag off the end of the road like that. So we've now got our kind of collectivization process in place now. All we got to do now is build it. So we're just going to pick up the pace a little bit now. And of course, what we're going to need to do first is get our road structures in. That's interesting that that horse feeding station is actually incurred into that field. Oh, didn't know that. So we lost, just have a look at the size of the fields. That's a full size field. That's a full size field. That's a full size field. That one's slightly smaller. That one's full sized. And this one's a smidge smaller as well. 1.57. Yeah. These are all full-size fields. And what we got to do now is turn our plans into reality. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we got our road crews working on this now. And we got an electricity problem with our radio station. Well, of course, that goes without saying. Of course, now we've got our power station work start coming underway here. We're gonna, once we got this nearing completion, what we're going to need to do is start to work on the principle of, like you say, so what we're going to need to do is start working on the principle of setting in our power grid. That's going to be another priority. And of course, the other thing we're going to need to do is get our coal and steel online, because you can see that our income at the moment is a little bit icky. So I think we've probably done enough damage now. So let me just take a look at the population. The population is, so we've got a few escapees, and we've got a little bit of unemployment, but that's to be understood as well. So I think at the moment now, what I need to do is just start turning this grand scheme into reality. I think it's going to take a little while to build things out here. I mean, I could do with more road crews, but I don't think I need to find out what's going on here. Actually, what I need to do is just press F1. What we've got is we've got our offices set up here. New Hope and bulk supply and road crew. What are you guys working on? How many roads have you got? You've got no roads at all. Why are you... Okay, we need you out here. Okay, road crew. Got to remember the... it's... What, 3, 4... And... Right, so you've picked up that road there. You've picked up that road there. So it's saying that they've actually picked up the roads. They just need to build out to them now. I think by breaking the roads up a little bit, it should make it a bit more contained. Let me just see how well. I think, is it 2? No, 3 is Titus road crew. These guys have picked up these little sections here, so they can build this. That's good. Construction office. Yeah. What are you working on? Let's see who's working on this at the moment. All the Titus guys working on this here. So what is the workers working on? Remote workers. You're working on the Tudor University and the first Jade House here. So, because what I would like to do is kind of provide one of these for a population like that. Okay, how's the crop situation? We're on the 23rd of April. Crops. We got crops in there, crops in there. Now, what was happening is we were running out of crops over here. We do need to... Of course, when we got this running, we're going to need to get crops flowing up this way, because some of these farms here may get torn down. We do need to start using our crops as part of the process. Still 33% loyalty. I think the thing about loyalty is that it takes a little bit of time to kind of build up once you've lost it. It's one of these, it's a bit like education. So you're actually getting the coverage now. See, this one's improving, but we still got question marks down here, which means we've probably got the... And this is only 25%. We still can't get full workforce in here, which is a little bit annoying. I mean, here it's 32%. I'm hoping that we can just get some growth going. See, we're having more deaths than births again. And I think this comes back to the fact that I think I'd have done far better if I'd planned a map with a large city. So I'd have had, I mean, it would have been more tricky to get the economy stable and self-sufficient like I did with this one. But I think if I had a starting population, say about 5 or 6,000, and worked on them for a period of time, just building up and getting an economy up and running, I think the life would have been a little bit easier than what it is now. How many do you need? You need another 20 tons. 65 tons of boards. Wow. I think down here, generally everything is looking good. So let's have a look at my buildings on fire. This is where we get some bad news. That's right next to the fire crew. There it is. Bang on the job for the kindergarten. That's brilliant. So I'm kind of running out of things to say, actually. I mean, I can't tear any of this down yet, but as I say, but what I do want is this proper slaughterhouse over here, which will take in the animals from here and turning into meat here. This is going to need a bit of support from Titus workers because that's a bit short. So we're going to have to do that. We will just clear all those messages. Got 14 pages of it. We've got fluctuating power supplies, so the here is going to be quite important, because to begin with, what we're going to need to do is bring a little bit of coal up from here. So we're not going to, so we can't replace the whole grid until all this is built. So what we're going to need to do is kind of work our way through here the best we can and get some coal production up, which would come into here. We've got a small aggregate store here, so we're going to need to build this coal processing plant. We've got a small aggregate store here, so probably our build process will be to build this and then build that, build the ore, and then we can use wagons to bring the coal down from here. In fact, I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to put a distribution center in about here, so that we can, and then what we'll do is as things move forward we can join everything up again. Because I think, yeah, if we put in you there, okay, thank you game. Right, that's, the road's a little bit longer than I was hoping for, but I'll go for the long road so that I don't have to mess about with the excavators. We can get that in there. How's the population? 2,900. We're actually losing population, aren't we? It's kind of stagnated a little bit. I mean, I think overall happiness is good. I mean, sport is okay. Religion, alcohol, got a tiny bit of alcohol addition. Look at, we've lost 1% in loyalty again. This is frustrating. Why can't we? It's probably down to. See, this is good. This is 33%. Again, we've got the question marks here. If not getting the staff in here, I'm very tempted just to set. I think what we'll do is, the trouble is, even if you do this, there's no guarantee that you're going to get all the workers into here that you need, because there's no guarantee that everybody in here has a loyalty over 50%. I mean, these don't need educated people, see? Don't think that's going to work, is it? There's no great uplift, is there? Maybe people don't want to be secret police. Yeah, we'll just remove you. We'll just let everyone go back to being the way they are. Yeah. We got a few more people coming in, but we're just gonna have to keep plodding away. It's back to 33% again. So it's, I think that indicates that the actual average is between 32 and 33%, probably around 32.5%. Another reason why I would like to get away from these wind turbines, as somebody suggested, is that it's not a very reliable power supply. Okay, we got a fire. You're here. Fire crew, come on, get on the job. Save our residents here. Oh, one of the changes with the Community Report 38 is the fact that the secret police are going to stop longer in when they visit places, just to make themselves, you know, kind of effective. What I might do actually is we put a footpath there and up to there, and maybe we'll connect that up there. Maybe if there's a more direct route down to here, people will be a little bit more kind of inclined to become secret police. Let me just see here. I don't know. I mean, got quite a big pile of steel here I've been importing, but we're not really using steel at the moment, are we? Just wondering if we can push anything forward a little bit. Let me just see. Maybe just one. Let me just see. This is Titus. What are you working on? Why are you? You shouldn't be. You're working on that. You're working. How can you be on all these buildings? Oh no, it's Titus cranes that's causing the problem, isn't it? I think what we'll do is I can find Titus cranes in here. I'm going to take the auto detect off. Because you've got everything in here but the kitchen sink, and I think I'm just going to take everything off here. Oops. Yeah, you're just causing confusion. So if we just come here like that, so that we can get these guys focused. If I can get that there, and then two. So technically you guys are working exclusively on these here. Don't need cranes for that. I think I'd like to get you all on that so we can get a workforce up here. We've got a coal store here. I'm just wondering if I can get that built. Do you need? Because what we could do then is get the production from here, which it can't use at the moment because it's very underutilized. If we get a store here, we can start building up a little stockpile of coal here, which will then we can use for the power station here. We're going to need to get the workforce out here, which is going to be a challenge. Come on guys, you need 5 tons of gravel and then we can get this university built. Because one of the problems we got down here is we got very low educated people. Very, yeah, most of them, we don't have any really that many highly educated people. What we need to do is get them into the university so that we can improve the education. Oh, our population is still drifting down. I think this is the effect of the... Yeah, we're back to 32% again. And we're not even in winter as well. Now, as far as I know, we got no problem with food. We got 12 tons of food in there. We've got 5 tons of food in here. 9 tons in there. Let's just take a look at the clothes. We got clothes. What about meat? Got there. Oh, we got a new vehicle. We got a new vehicle. Maybe we can start improving things by giving our guys some crews. But it's got to be here. Right, we've got the NAM 1. It can carry 4 passengers. Right, we've got a little bit of money. I think to start with, we're going to buy 3. We're going to buy... Actually, we're going to buy 1 and then see if we can actually assign you to the... Yeah. It'd be really annoying if they... Of course, everyone's going to want to... Look at that. And then we'll buy 2 more, and what we'll do is we'll put... Actually, 3 more. Personal cars. And then we'll come up here. Got no idea where you are, but you're going to get sold. We put 1 in each place first, and hopefully that will improve the coverage. And then we'll put another one over here. I'll sell you. And then we'll put 1 over here. You can go into here. And of course we'll put 1 in the top office over here as well. So let's sell you. Oh, just suddenly occurred to me, I could have used those as private riding horses, couldn't I? Oh, not thinking laterally. I'm just going to see if we can find the... Whoops. I'm just going to follow him around a little bit and just see what on earth is going on here. He's still stuck behind these wagons, but I think the difference is that... Where are you going now? You're going to... I think this is the difference, that compared to the riding horses, these guys will provide a lot better coverage because they can move faster. See, look at, he's going to burn off these horses. Look at that, wow. Come on, crazy. Mr. Crazy. Where on earth is he going now? See how quickly he's getting around the map. They literally just keep driving round until I suppose they've run out of fuel or something like that. Yeah. I think what we're going to do now is just let them run around for a little while and see whether this will actually improve this coverage. In fact, I'm tempted to put some more in. How much are these? These personal cars. When they're only 2,000 each. So what we're going to do, guys, I think it's... We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this is going to be a good enough investment. So what we're going to do is just sell you guys off. No. You go there. You get into there. Pick up you, and you're going to be recycled as a private thing, so we get more people riding horses, and you can go up to there. And then how many we got left? Got 4 left. So I think what we can do over here is you can come back to the stables. Same as you. I know I'm causing a bit of a disruption here, but I think it will be worth it in the long run. And whoops, sorry, got lost in the thing. Yeah, we got electricity problem. Again, we're going to send the riding horses all the way back to here so they can be reallocated. And then you can come over to here. You can come there. I think that should just leave me with 1 riding horse in here. You can go to there. Actually, let me just check this. And then riding horse here, and you can go there. And then we're just buying 2 more personal transport cars. Actually, I should have changed them to black, shouldn't I? Oh well, never mind. We've got the blue security police. We'll turn them black when they turn really nasty. Didn't notice that. Never mind. And then we got that there. Right, hopefully last chance to buy. What we got here? What on earth is this? Oh, this is the tractor pulled harvester. Yeah. Apologies, I just want to look here. Now we got this. This will run into 1946. No, yeah. what was that then? Oh, that would be probably, yeah, this one here. Can't afford it anyway, so right, we've got everyone running around, so let me just take a look now and see what the coverage is like now. Loyalty. Yeah, look at that. So we've got everybody there being visited, everyone being here, being visited, and hopefully everyone over here being visited. Yep. I think the personal cars are going to make a big difference. Look at him. He's whizzing through there. They're not going to escape now. The secret police will be keeping an eye on them all the time now. And I think this is the difference, is that these guys are able to, even if they're not all being used, like at the moment, these have got the ability to kind of whip out now and pay a visit. So let's just, I think, just wind the video up, and my alarm's gone off again. Because of course at the moment I'm still having to do short videos. But we're just going to follow him around and see where he's going. So you look at that, see? That's it. You check up on all these people. Make sure they're abiding by the rules. See, look. See, he's able to get out as soon as they spot a building. And I think this is the way the loyalty mechanic actually works, is that when a building in range, so say for example like here, so as you can see this coverage comes all the way out as far as here. So if you get a building here where the question marks come up or someone's a bit suspect, which office comes here depends on which one picks it up first, who's got the spare vehicle. And I think that was the problem with the horses, because and once that horse kicked out, so for example if you had a horse starting up here and had to come all the way down to here, it took such a long time. But now we got these little these trucks, these cars running around all the time on the case. I mean, I could have probably got away with just like 1 or 2 in each office, but I think the horses are going to make a difference. You've actually got spare people here who no free parking lots near residential buildings. Wow, we actually filled up our parking lots, have we? There's here. Is this cars heading to the lot 3? Looks like we may need to build another parking lot. Anyway, I think just to wind the last chance to buy. Oh, this could be bad news. Oh, I just love this game. That was an oil tanker, wasn't it? 1928, see? But I think that's just what we got to live with. We can only use what we've got. As I say, I really need to finish the video, so what we're going to do is have a quick run round and see what's going on. We're building these roads out here. Yeah, we need gravel. I'd guess that all my bulk supply guys are kind of out here working overtime. Road crew. I'm not exactly sure why you're not located there, but I'll get you on that as well. These are being built. These, nope, okay. We need to get you working on that. So the roads are being put together really quickly. Ideally, what I'd like is to get this built so that I mean, it'd be brilliant if we can get New Hope. We could get this farm built by next year. What we could do at the very least is move the equipment from here up to here. But what we're going to need is a couple of distribution offices tucked in here somehow. I need to think about it. Anyway, so that's bit done here. We're still kind of working on this area here. And I think ideally what we need the workforce in here as well. Of course, the university's finished. We need to reduce you down a little bit to about 10. And of course, we're going to need a government loyalty of 25. Actually, at the moment, what we're probably going to need is more educated staff out here. We don't have the workforce. Let's drop it to 20. I'll take anything at the moment that will kind of get people educated. Waiting for professors, yes. Anyway, and one final check on the population. So our population is improving a little bit. Our happiness is improving. We're back to 33%. And this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.